Okay, in this video, I am going to teach you all my favorite techniques to getting your brain out of fight or flight. And there's not just one technique. I've got 9, and I think I threw a couple extra bonuses in there. But if you want to finally succeed at weight loss, if you want to finally get your health back on track, you're going to have to get this brain back on track. And I've got some pretty darn fun tools. So stay tuned. Okay, you guys, let's dive deep into how the heck do we pull you out of fight or flight. So last week on the videos that I did, I asked you all what you needed help with in stress, and holy cow, did we get a lot of response back that stress is a major issue, that many of you are needing more tools on how to handle, and you're dealing with just high stress lives. So what I want to do today is really help you understand how you can train your brain to handle stress better. And then I want to show you where that fits into the keto, fasting, diet variation life that I'm teaching here on my channel. So if you're watching this new for the first time, go back and watch the first of this brain reset series, because I explain how the brain and the body work together. And if your brain is stressed out, I don't care what diet you go on, you're going to struggle to repair the body. So this is why I wanted to have a brain reset conversation. But today specifically, we're going to talk about fight or flight. When you're locked in that place of fight or flight, how the heck do you get out of that? So let me start off by giving you again some foundational ideas. So I'm going to go back to what I explained in the very first video I did of this brain reset series, that when we get stressed, our brain literally goes into this place of heroism. Like it's on it, it sees the stress happening, and so it orchestrates a fight or flight response. That fight or flight response shuts down your digestion, it shuts down your immune system, and your body will stop burning fat. So for those of you that are trying to lose weight, understand this is so pivotal, because the techniques that I'm teaching around diet variation and fasting may not be working as well because your brain is locked in that fight or flight. So when the brain gets stressed, it changes the body. And when the body starts to malfunction, it can go into exhaustion, and it can create a whole bunch of symptoms inside of you, and now it creates more stress. Now you don't just have external stress, you've got internal stress, and your poor brain is in overload. So this is why I'm doing this series, because I just gotta dive into this. So I'm going to introduce you to a couple of pieces of your brain. So let me go this way so you can see it. I've got a staff member that makes these amazing pictures. So here's what you need to know about the brain. There is a front part of your brain called your prefrontal cortex. And your prefrontal cortex is the place of logic, the place of decision making and goal setting and happiness and delayed gratification and patience and creativity. This is the place, this is what makes us human, is that this is where we can really create a magnificent life. We can change our health. So many things we do well when we're operating from our prefrontal cortex. But the prefrontal cortex is in a constant battle with another part of your brain. And that part of your brain is called your amygdala. And your amygdala is in your midbrain. It is the primitive part of your brain. And the job of the amygdala is to keep you safe. So if your brain perceives a stress, and the stress is big enough, you stop operating from the prefrontal cortex and you come down into the amygdala, and the amygdala says, hey, this has happened before. If you do this, you're not going to be safe, and it pulls you into fight or flight. Now, the amygdala doesn't work alone. It has a partner of crime called the hippocampus, and the hippocampus is where our memories are stored. So what ends up happening is stress comes at you over and over and over again. You go into fight or flight, it stores it in the hippocampus, and now your body is in this place where it is constantly trying to keep you safe. And when it's keeping you safe, you're not operating from the prefrontal cortex. So it shuts down creativity, it shuts down patience, it shuts down goal setting and decision making. This is a big deal of what's happening to our teens right now, is that they're getting locked in this midbrain and they're not operating from the prefrontal cortex. So let's come back over here. You're stuck in fight or flight, you're not losing weight, your digestion's off, you're not getting rid of these infections that are in your body. What can we do so that we can get the brain to come out of fight or flight? So there are 9 things that I'm gonna show you or tell you or give you that you can do like immediately. And there's more than this, so I just came up with 9 of my favorite, okay? So the first is, if you feel like you're stuck in fight or flight, you gotta come all the way back up here and go, what can I do to stimulate my prefrontal cortex? And you do that by learning new information. So right now, you're stimulating your prefrontal cortex just listening to this, if this is brand new information. So just if you're new to my channel, dive into all my videos. They're there. I'm trying to teach you how to help yourself. So go and watch all the videos that I've got there. You can join us in the academy. We're diving deeper into this as well. Go learn something new, whatever. It doesn't matter what it is, but now you're stimulating the prefrontal cortex. Resist instant gratification. Okay, so the more we're primed to that immediate gratification, the more we feed this midbrain, the more we nurture the midbrain. And if you remember from the first video, the thoughts that we fire together over and over and over again will get wired. So you need some things that are going to create some instant or some non-instant gratification. So if you're not losing weight fast enough, here's a positive spin. You know, what's really cool is that you're learning how to be more patient, and that's stimulating your prefrontal cortex. So you're growing a part of your brain that needs some support so that we can pull you out of fight or flight. What can you do? I've tried this in like where I'm waiting in line at the grocery store or somewhere, not pulling my phone out and immediately engaging the brain, because then I lock myself in this amygdala. What can I do to start to just sit there and look around, and I don't have something that's always got my brain satisfied? That's a beautiful way to get the prefrontal cortex to start working better. So, okay, this is another one that I really liked that I wanted to make sure I got you guys the best ones, is how when you're locked in fight or flight, you're always thinking about the worst case scenario. What if you go out throughout your day, just spend a 24-hour period where you're like, what is the best case scenario? So a stressor hits you, you go locked into this fight or flight brain, but if you can recognize it, could you at that moment say, okay, well, what's the best case scenario that could happen here for me? And you can remember, this is a muscle. You can start to train your brain, and the minute you say what is the best scenario that can happen, your prefrontal cortex is like, I'm on it, let me tell you, I know what the best case scenario is, and it starts pulling you into creativity. Okay, so those are 3 things. Now, let me dive into a little more practical things like sleep. If you're not sleeping, you're going to operate from fight or flight. Meditation, prayer. We know that sitting and meditating and praying will bring you to the prefrontal cortex. One really cool technique we've been using in our office is something called brain tap. And that we put these on kids, we put them on our stressed out. I'm in Silicon Valley, so we put them on our stressed out adults, and it has binaural beats and isochronic tones, and it reorganizes the brain and pulls the brain out of fight or flight and goes into prefrontal cortex. So super cool. You can find all the cool little pieces of equipment we have in my office is on our Instagram. Look up Family Life Wellness on our Instagram, and you can see some of the cool things we're doing to pull people out of that fight or flight. Okay, the other thing is, hang around, this is another really easy one, hang around people that are can-do, optimistic people. So if I have a life that's super stressful and I'm locked in this midbrain, and I hang around people that are like, life sucks, this is horrible, I'm only locking myself more into that midbrain. But the minute I hang around people that are upbeat or again, come join us on any of the platforms. This is such a big piece that I'm trying to create for people, is that when we can hang around joyful, positive people, we pull you out of that fight or flight brain and we move you into the prefrontal cortex. So, and this is neuroscience, you guys. This is well documented. We can see this on brain scans. So if you're having a crappy life, if you're having a really bad day, go find somebody that makes you laugh. Don't go find that person that is only going to tell you, yeah, your job sucks, your spouse is definitely a deadbeat, whatever. The person that validates these thoughts that keep you stuck here, don't go hang out with them. Go hang out with the people that are like, yeah, life might be tough, but come on over here. Let me show you how cool life is over here. Those are the people that'll move you to your prefrontal cortex. Then we've got things like chiropractic. This is one of the things I love most about a chiropractic adjustment. One chiropractic adjustment, and they documented it was primarily in the neck and upper back. One adjustment pulls you get 30% more blood flow to your prefrontal cortex. So I can tell you, when people come into our clinic, we got positivity, we got high energy, and then when they're getting adjusted, we're speaking affirmations into them, we're moving them into this prefrontal cortex, we're getting more blood flow. That's what was documented by studies done out of New Zealand. I will put the link to that study in these notes so you can see it. If you have a chiropractor, you're having a bad day, go get a chiropractic adjustment. Nothing pulls you into that prefrontal cortex faster than an adjustment, okay? Then my last thing, and again, diet and nutrition is such a passion of mine, and I will tell you some of my favorite supplements. So first, okay, and I probably have said this before, but I just have to point it out. This is the best brain supplement that I've ever experienced. It's called Neurosin. And this is amino acids that help with organize the prefrontal cortex so that you're operating more from there. You're stimulating, it's getting nutrition to that area. I like to combine it with B-Brain, which is another supplement that we use. I often, for my patients that are really stuck in fight or flight, they're just really heavy in their thinking, or they're going through a really stressful time, they've lost a loved one, they're going through a job change, we'll put these two together. So these two are fabulous for getting nutrition to the prefrontal cortex. Okay? Then, those of you that are big magnesium fans, not all magnesium is made the same. So if you're just taking a magnesium supplement because you heard that it helps with depression and anxiety, you actually need to have a very specific one. And magnesium L-threonate is the type of magnesium you need, and Neuromag is my favorite. Again, we'll put a link in there. So this would be for those of you that are more prone to depression and anxiety, whereas B-Brain and Neurosin is more for those of you that are just feeling like you're not thinking, your decision-making abilities are poor, you're not in your creative brain. That's what those other two would be for. And then overall, if you guys have a bad gut, or your diet is deficient, like unfortunately, if you're doing a lot of fasting and you're maybe doing the carnivore diet, you're not getting a lot of vegetables, you're going to need a really high-powered antioxidant like rocks will help you to get antioxidants to that front brain. So look at what your needs are. Is it depression, anxiety? Then you would turn towards Neuromag. Is it mental clarity and decision making and just keeping awesome focus? Then you would turn towards Neurosin and B-Brain. If you know that you've been doing a lot of fasting, maybe your hair is falling out, then you would turn more towards rocks. And some of my patients take them all. So I will put links for you guys there. Okay? So prefrontal cortex, this is where we want to live. When we're trying to fast, when we're trying to do keto, what happens is if you get locked in here, if you're one of those people that you're like, I am not losing weight, doesn't matter what I do, I am not losing weight. Or if you're really struggling with just going fasting for long periods of time because the monkey mind shows up and starts to tell you can't do it. Or let's say you're in a chronic condition and you've been stuck in that condition for a long time and you've had doctors tell you you're never going to lose weight or you're never going to get better, and you're locked in there. Now's the time to apply what I taught you here. How do we move you to that prefrontal cortex? How do we get more activity here? And it might be that it's not just one thing. You might have to apply all 9 of the things that I just told you. So that's why I'm giving you a whole bunch of ideas. Okay, but this is where you want to live. When you're here, then all of a sudden you stop, the brain can relax, and it doesn't have to shut down digestion. It doesn't have to stop burning fat. It doesn't have to take your sex hormones and tank them. It can actually make all these things work right. And when the body's working right, then the brain calms, and then you perceive stress a whole lot differently. So, okay, stuck or fight or flight. There's an awesome formula. Give me feedback. Please let me know if this is helpful. I've got a whole arsenal of tools that I personally use. I've taught my kids. I teach my patients. So if this is helpful, I'll just keep teaching them to you guys. I'll bring them to you and help you understand your brain a little more. My next video is going to be on neurotransmitters. So how do you deal with the chemicals in the brain? And this is a really big one because I'm seeing in my clinic a lot of people that are just not experiencing joy like they used to. A lot of people that can't calm the brain. So those are all neurotransmitters, and I'm going to teach you all the different ways that you can rebalance your neurotransmitters. So make sure you like and subscribe to this video, then you'll get notified when I release that video. So you guys are awesome, and as always, I hope that helps.